what are the best countries on the planet for this new reality where, I don't know, you get a great life, safety, minimal taxes, and where should you have your entity?
Well, I always say the best country is no country. I always recommend people to emigrate without immigrating. And that's basically what we propagate for the last 10 years, this perpetual traveling lifestyle. Perpetual traveling doesn't mean traveling as much as I do. Yeah, I just do that for pleasure, not for having to do it. Yeah, I would say, I mean, you can, for example, live 6 months in your home country in many cases, and 6 months in a new place, even have accommodation there, even property there, and get out of the tax system. And that works for mostly everyone, except if you're American. Yeah. So choosing 2, maybe 3 countries where you live permanently is enough to have these advantages. Of course, if you want to live full term in one single country, that's also possible. Then you emigrate from one system to another system, which can give you a lot of advantages, but you're still subjected to some form of government control, and that doesn't need to be in my eyes. Yeah. But of course, for some people, or for the majority of people, actually, that's the right way to go. And there's still many attractive countries around the world, still, I would say, around 50 countries, where you can structure yourself in a way that you're completely tax-free and enjoy many other advantages. Yeah.
What about the usual ones? People always want to go to the US, live in the US, California, Florida, Texas, New York, but then also Spain, Italy is what I hear from the Americans where they want to live. Then Bali, I hear, Dubai, I hear, Costa Rica, I hear. The rich live in Monaco. What's your take on it?
Yeah, I mean, it really depends on the people. Yeah, I'm more specialized on like little on freelancers, small entrepreneurs, people living off their assets as a trader and something like that. And the typical immigration countries are not that interesting. They're more interesting for employed people. Sometimes I have employees as well which have some money from like selling the house or so and want to live in another country. But these typical countries like US, Canada, Australia, New Zealand don't play a big role in our consultings. Mostly we have clients from there, entrepreneurs from there trying to get away as well, because this is very highly regulated and taxed societies. So our countries are rather often developing countries, for example, Paraguay or Thailand or Georgia and many other countries like this. They're very popular because they make immigration easy. It's not too hard to legally emigrate to those countries. They often have favorable tax and other conditions. Yeah.
Okay. Question here on our personal side. We don't like the weather anymore in Europe, or especially like in Germany where we live, especially in winters. It was sunny and snowy in winters, and now it's just rainy and gray. So we think of where could we go? And we thought in winter, there's actually in, for example, Texas, there are a couple of nice places, also Florida. Because for us, most of our customers are in the US. So it would be good to be in that time zone as well. Is that smart?
Yeah, I mean, the US is not good for citizens and residents, but it has a lot of advantages for non-residents. Not only with the LLC, for example, yeah, countries like Germany, Austria, and so on, they tax you once you have a permanent accommodation available. So you really have to avoid that. But the US doesn't do that. Yeah, you can easily have a property somewhere in California or Florida, live there up to 4 to 6 months. So there's like a special rule, or which is less than 6 months. It's like average over 3 years. But generally, you can live up every year up to 4 months in your nice condo in Florida. And then the next 8 months you can spend just nearby, maybe in the Bahamas or in Costa Rica or many of these other Latin American countries, which are great for taxes. Most of Central America and the Caribbean doesn't have taxes on foreign income or doesn't have taxes at all. So there's nice countries 1, 2, 3 hours flight away from the US where you can easily settle and do business in the US. Yeah.
In this case, would I need to get like an L1 visa or any type of visa for the US? Or should I?
With this type of lifestyle, generally don't need a visa at all. You can, I mean, it really depends on your business, what you do locally. So in most cases, a normal B1, B2 visa should be fine. Of course, an E2 visa might be beneficial if you really need some kind of work permit.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, it comes also with social security numbers, right? And then you're taxable in the country.
You're not taxable by having a social security number or an item. Yeah, it's just a number. The tax residency is always in the US basically about to stay. 183 days, or the so-called substantial presence test, which basically is an average of 4 months a year, but it's a special formula.
Okay, so in my case, I should avoid to spend in the US more than 180 days.
Yes, and on 3-year average, like 4 months. So you can spend like 2 years, 6 months each, but in the third year, then you really have to spend much lower amount, otherwise you might get taxable.
Clear. Just real quick, before we move on, what are your personal top 5, top 10 countries?
I mean, obviously I have residencies in certain countries as well. I collect them also for testing them. So, for example, I got permanent residency in Panama, in Paraguay, until recently in Dubai. I have a lot of things going on in Georgia. So these are, for example, countries I have residency documents or investments. And this can scale, of course, to other countries. Right now, I'm only having German citizenship. This is due to the law. Until recently, Germany just allowed one citizenship. And this just changes actually next week when Germans are permitted multiple citizenship. And I'm already at some applications to buy a new citizenship as kind of a security once the German passport gets bad. At the moment, it's still a great passport with a lot of advantages, but you never know how the countries develop, and it rather sees, I don't see it very positive in the future. So I really want an alternative, so I can just, the German passport gets bad, like, I don't know, we all have to go to war against Russia or something, then I have another passport to continue my freedom,
Okay, I'll double click on all of that. We're still in the section of how to move away successfully. So the best countries for my business entities, what I took from that is it's not the Cayman Islands anymore, which has like this shady feeling, or Panama. It's actually the US. And what about double taxation?
It depends on the business setup. The LLC isn't good for everyone, especially it's not good for bigger companies. The big limitation, I would say, for the LLC is it's just not usable if you have a big company with employees. It's mostly something you use yourself personally. But once you have employees, it's still possible. I can operate with like my 10 employees over the LLC because all my employees have the condition to work for me. They have to be tax-free as well. But once I have an employee resident in Germany or in the US or in other high-tax countries, this model doesn't work anymore. Or it works only with certain adaptations, So this is like the general thing about the US. There is no restrictions on the revenue or the profit. If you can make 10 millions remotely, it's fine. But the restriction is just it's not suitable for bigger companies or companies with investors and things like that,